Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to 2025. So, real quick, I just want to start this video by saying that drug abuse and addiction is no laughing matter, and if you are currently struggling or have been through this struggle, I just want you to know you are not alone. So that being said, Peter Griffin has had a long history when it comes to drug addiction and different forms of drugs usage, and we've gotten glimpses of it throughout the series, mostly through cutaway gags and flashbacks, and in this video, I just want to go over all of his addictions throughout the series, because Peter has a hell of a drug problem and definitely needs help, and we actually see his progression of just getting worse as the series goes on, and we're going to walk through all of this in this video. But before we get into that, guys, I would like to set myself a small little new goal. Currently, as I'm recording this video, I am at 1,020 subscribers, because I'm still recording this in 2024 alongside my last video. We're probably a little bit higher by now, hopefully, but you guys, I would like to try and get this up to maybe just 1,100, and if you guys could help me out, it would be greatly appreciated. I just want to let this channel keep growing, and I hope you guys are enjoying the contents I'm putting out. And with that being said, guys, let's get into this video. So the first time we see Peter having tried drugs is actually in season 2, episode 14, Let's Go to the Hop. He talks about doing drugs when they find a hallucinogenic toad in Chris's backpack, and when they confront him, he mentions doing drugs and saying things got way too real, and as you guys can see, they actually did. But after that, in season 4, episode 10, Model Misbehavior, when Lois has started a modeling career and is actually taking way too much diet pills, so that's kind of her own thing, Peter goes to Carter for help in getting Lois under control. Here, he sets up a flashback about the time he does X, and when we see him, he is on the couch, filling up on Brian and Stewie. I wasn't sure if I was actually going to include weed in this video or not, since it's very different from all the rest of the drugs on the list, but I decided, why not? So let me know what you think in the comments below if you think this should have been left out or not, but hey, I'm going to throw it in here. So in season 4, episode 23, Deep Throats, Peter and Lois start smoking weed again when they're trying to sing together for a talent show. They try singing together at first, but they aren't as good at it as they used to be, and then decide they should get high to try and regain some of their old inspiration. But during this whole process, he is high and naked on the couch with Lois when Brian and Stewie walk in looking for an incriminating entry in a date book. Here, Lois says to Brian he's knocking on the back door, should I let him in, and I am scared. And you guys can kind of guess what that means. And they also kind of freak out later on and start licking Chris. And when we see them in the talent show, they are great, so you think it works, but then they realize it only sounded good because they were high, and to everyone else, they just sounded like they were making random noises. But then in season 5, episode 10, Peter's Two Dads, Peter does crack to try and stop drinking. And he explains this idea to Brian, who tries to stop him, but he does it anyway. And when Ryan comes back in, Peter is laying on the floor holding a pillow, saying, "The government came and took my baby." But then we see that Peter has continued to use cocaine in season 5, episode 17, It Takes a Village Idiot, and I Married One. This is in a what-if scenario he puts forth to his friends, trying to get them to help Lois get elected as mayor, saying if she is mayor, he could do cocaine if he wanted to, and that sets up the flash forward, I think, because in the cutaway, they're sitting at a table when he hyper-focuses on straightening a picture in the kitchen, then freaking out, flipping the table, and telling Meg to clean it all up. So I'm pretty sure he actually did this once she became mayor. But then when Brian and Stewie make weed legal, he pretty much just starts smoking a crap ton of it to the point where he can't actually set up cutaway gags because he's so high. And this is all in season 7, episode 12, 420. But then Peter tries meth again in season 8, episode 16, April and Quahog, after he says that he hates the kids when they think the world is going to end. He tries to reconnect with Chris by doing crystal meth. Chris, of course, questions him, and Peter says all he knows about it is that the guys who made it are dead. He then takes some, punches a hole in the wall, pulls out an eye, and jumps through a window. And it didn't actually end there, as when he tries to reconnect with Stewie, he pretty much gets bored, and he does it again. Camera being on Stewie, and then when it flashes back to Peter, he basically says, "I am so freaking ready," and he jumps to the roof, eventually letting an owl into Stewie's room. But then in season 10, episode 14, Be Careful What You Fish For, we find out that Peter actually does cocaine and works on dollhouses when he's kind of tired of a dolphin that got him a hood ornament that he had been wanting living in his house, and he pretty much sets this up in a flashback. So But then Peter tries X with Lois at a club when Lois starts going through her midlife crisis and acting like a younger woman. In season 11, episode 6, Lois comes out of her shell. Lois is just trying to enjoy herself on the dance floor, but Peter is actually freaking out and starts slamming the DJ's head on top of the turntable. Then in season 12, episode 7, In Harmony's Way, Peter and Quagmire start a singing group called In Harmony. They have a lot of success thanks to Mort and end up getting on Conan, where we see that Peter has pretty much become addicted to getting flu shots like they're drugs. Quagmire walks in and tells the people to stop giving him the shots because they were going to be late, and this is actually one of the things that ends to them breaking up. And now, I don't know if I should count this, but it is definitely implied to be representing musicians and their drug use, so I'm going to go ahead and throw it in here. But then when Cleveland moves back to town in season 12, episode 20, He's Black, Peter and Cleveland are pretty much forbidden from hanging out and being friends. So they start sneaking around in various ways, one of which is meeting at a cabin where they meet up with Peter bringing beer and Cleveland says he brought pot. Peter says he feels stupid. Then the next day, Peter brings pot and Cleveland brings acid, making Peter feel stupid again. The next day, Cleveland brings meth and Peter brings 10 rounds of chemo, and this is where they say they went too far. So then we find out in season 17, episode 17, Island Adventure, when Lois is trying to help out Quagmire with a woman he is trying to date that Friday night, is when her and Peter go to the aquarium to do edibles. Peter says this is awesome, and Lois starts freaking out, but Peter basically says, don't ruin it for me. Then, when Peter and Lois are telling the kids about how they met and fell in love, or at least one of the ways they met and fell in love, we see that Peter and the guys are living the high life on a yacht because Carter set the whole thing up to catch Peter in a compromising position as a last-ditch effort to keep him and Lois from getting married. And while he is on there, he does X, sleeps with hookers, and has lobster fights. And he seems to really enjoy doing X, since he says that it is terrible for you, but only ever made him feel fantastic, and that it would put a hole in your brain, but he goes, show me the hole. If you hate pure unconditional love and experiencing the profound harmony of the universe, definitely do not try this drug. As well as that there is like a 90% chance of hooking up, but even if you don't hook up, you won't care, but you're definitely going to hook up. So Peter just really likes X, apparently. I don't know. We then see him take some pills he got after a root canal in season 19, episode 9, The First Noel, when Lois leaves for Christmas because she is fed up with the family not helping on the holidays. After he does this, he pretty much sits in a chair for 4 days straight, so that must have been some really good stuff. Then in season 20, episode 4, 80s Guy, Peter does cocaine when he gets into the 1920s, after Lois says he should give up on the 80s and find a whole different decade to be into. He says he didn't choose it because of the little cocaine, but it was definitely because of the cocaine. He then puts on a pinstripe suit and invents a flying machine called Cocaine Plane. But finally, in season 22, episode 1, Fertilize Meg, when Meg acts as a surrogate for Bruce and Jeffrey, 2 months into the pregnancy, in the fall, Peter tries meth. He kind of makes it seem like it was his first time, but as we've went over, it's definitely not. Then on Halloween, he walks in with his clothes all messed up and says he's really liking meth. Then around Christmas, Peter comes in saying he needs money now, like yesterday, looking horrible. Then after that, Peter comes back in looking really skinny to an interventionist named Marcus, and basically he's really skinny and methed out, for lack of a better term, so the family can have an intervention. For him, he says, "You liars," and runs away. He's not seen on Easter, but in the summer we find out that he did go to rehab and return home looking much better, saying meth was great, but I guess it's bad, and that he was not really sold on that, but just then Meg's water breaks, so it just kind of ends there. So I do have a couple of honorable mentions that weren't exactly like hard drug use. The first one of these is Peter does steroids in season 5, episode 8, Peter's Two Dads. He gets mad at the dinner table and punches Meg. And then he takes a bunch of pills while murking for Mort in season 10, episode 15, Burning Down the Boyette. They were trying to help him out so he doesn't lose his shot, but they end up just burning the place down anyway, but him and Quagmire do like a crap ton of drugs. But that is it. And as you can see, Peter has had a long and lively history of drug abuse throughout his life. He's gotten better at times. He's also had a lot of relapses and went over the edge quite a lot. And just to give you a total number of what we have seen him do, He has done 1 unknown hallucinogen. He's done X 3 times. We've seen him do weed/edibles, decide to throw those together 5 times. He's done crack or cocaine 4 times, meth 4 times. He's gotten hooked on flu shots once. He's done acid 1 time. He's done chemo drugs 1 time, but he did 10 rounds of it, so that can't be good, or at least 5 rounds of it. He's done random pills twice, and he's done steroid once. So basically, Peter goes hard when he partakes, and I probably missed some of them over the entire series, and if I did, please let me know in the comments down below. Also, please share any of your own stories, good or bad. You never know if your story will actually help somebody out there, and while you're down there, guys, please remember to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another video from me. I'm hoping to have a great year just like last year was, and until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video.